welcome to my 2021 reading year in review. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start off by, going through my Goodreads wrap up, and then I'm going to I'm going to explain what I think was, my favorite, my least favorite, books that surprised me, stuff like that. So let's start with the Goodreads stats. I didn't start tracking until April of this year, and I think so these numbers aren't completely accurate. They're pretty much from April onward. So So from April onward, I read 19,068 pages in 63 books, which I think comes down to about an average of 302 pages. The shortest book I read was You Have Arrived at Your Destination by Mortal Tolls, which is part of the Forward series collection on Amazon. And then the longest book I read was Jade City by Fonda Lee, which is 560 pages. So yeah, it's a good range there. I'm hoping to get to the last two of those books this year in 2022, but we'll play it by ear. Like I said, the average book length 302 pages. I think it's pretty decent. Next year I'm hoping to read a little bit longer books too. So anyway, the book that is the most popular that I read this year, or at least I finished it this year, was 1984 by George Orwell. I started that book when I was a freshman in college, and I didn't get a chance to finish it until this year, and I finished it via audiobook. I think everyone should read it. I don't think it's that good. It's not even that. It's just boring as hell. And there's just this large chunk of the book. It's literally just another book in that universe, and he's just reading it verbatim, and it's bad. Anyway, and then the book that I read that was the least popular is The Nightmare of Zeal Delane by Shanti Hirshenson, who I thought did really good. I believe did really well. I think she's a 14-year-old author. It's a short story. I enjoyed the book a lot, actually, and I left a review for it. I think that's the only book I've left a review for all year. But if you ever get a chance to pick it up, I believe you can get it on Amazon for a relatively cheap price, and I think it's worth it. Like I said, she's really young and she needs to develop her skills a little bit. But the story was very solid. So I highly recommend The Nightmare of Zeal Delane. My average rating in 2021 for books was 4.1. I have a feeling this is kind of going to stay that way for as long as I make these videos and as long as I keep stuff on Goodreads. I don't read books I don't want to, and so any book that I want to, I usually like it. Sometimes I'll see a book and think maybe I'll try it and I won't finish it, which you'll see in my December wrap-up, because I'm just not into it. Sometimes it happens, but if I DNF books, I won't rate them. So you're never going to see, this probably come down below a 4.0. So, it is what it is. So that's all the stuff for Goodreads. So now let's get to my own stuff about, that's a little bit more personal. So my favorite book this year by far was Victory's Price by Alexander Freed. It's the third and final book in the Alphabet Squadron trilogy. Man, this book was good, and it hit me really, really hard. Now, I read the hardcover version. I got the trade paperback so that it would match my shelf and the other two books ahead of it. So I have not gotten a chance to read the trade paperback yet, but 550 pages, yeah. Highly recommend this book. I highly recommend the series in general. It's not my favorite Star Wars series. It's my second favorite Star Wars series. We'll get to that in a minute. But man, this book was incredible. And it wrapped up the trilogy really, really nicely. And I didn't care for the second book, so I was a little bit skeptical for going into this one. But I love this book. Definitely one of my all-time favorite books. It's so good. Highly recommended. The only issue is you have to read 2 books to get to it. But the first book's really good. And the second book is just mainly focused on character development. Not a ton goes on, but this third book, great payoff, great ending too. All right, so now my favorite series of the year actually goes to these 3 books. The one I read late last year, but the other 2 I read late this year, and that's the Throne Descendancy series. I can't say enough good things about this. Timothy Zahn, I think, is at his best when he's not barred by things. You know, I'm in the middle of the first Thrawn trilogy. I read the Descendancy, the prequel trilogy first, and then I went back and am reading the Thrawn trilogy now. But you know, the way he has to weave Thrawn into the Empire in the original canon Thrawn trilogy, kind of doesn't give him leeway to really explore the character. He did so well with this because Lesser Space is a lot less known, or well, not Lesser Space. Sorry, the Unknown Region is like, you know, like its name says, is kind of a lot more kind of undeveloped in Star Wars. But the way Timothy Zahn went and developed it in this book and in the second book behind me, it was just incredible. And he did the same thing in the first book. But this series, these two came out this year, Greater Good and Lesser Evil. Fantastic books. This book, again, probably top 5 favorite books this year. It was so good. I highly recommend the series. I think the third one is my favorite. It probably goes 3, 1, 2. But again, the Thrawn Descendancy series I think is my favorite Thrawn, or my favorite Thrawn book so far. Definitely, kind of scared about where they're taking him in the shows. So we'll see what they do with him. Yeah, this is a fantastic series. Honorable mention on series is the High Republic series, but that's still ongoing, so I'm not going to worry about that probably till it's over. But great 2 books that they got out so far. Okay, so I have the most surprising book, but I have 2 of them. One is good and one is bad. They come from the same series, believe it or not. So the first one, my most surprising book that I read this year was Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. I did not expect to love that book as much as I did. I think that's probably my second or third favorite book of the year. I really loved... I'm terrible with names, so excuse me if I don't remember everyone's name for all these books. I really loved the main character, whose name escapes me. I really loved her interactions with the alien. His name was Ampersand, I think. It was a little weird at the end when they're kind of falling in love. But at the same time, you could kind of tell the whole time. I liked that they kind of kept it ambiguous, though. Or Lindsay Ellis kept it ambiguous. So, really, really, really good book. I devoured that thing. I think it's a 17-hour audiobook or 14-hour audiobook, and I devoured the shit out of it. I will probably buy the physical copy of it at some point, but yeah. And I like how it opened it up for a second book, which is where I get to my most surprising book, but not in a good way. And that's Truth of the Divine, which is the sequel to Axiom's End. I hated Truth of the Divine. I did not like that book yet at all. Lindsay Ellis really kind of shoved that other character in there, whose name I can't remember. The male, I guess, protagonist, the writer, the guy from I think it's the New York Post or whatever. I didn't like him at all. He was really annoying. Nothing about him was likable, and then for some reason they made the main character sleep with him a bunch and described it in detail, and I get secondhand embarrassment from that kind of stuff. So I was embarrassed for them. I hated every minute of it. He was just really annoying. The only time I liked him was when he was interacting with, not Obelisk, with Nikolai, who he named Nikolai. Those the only time I ever liked his character. And they made him more of a main character than the original protagonist and Ampersand. And everything I loved about the first book was almost like forgotten from the second book. So I hated it. I didn't hate it. Hate's a strong word. I did not like Truth of the Divine. I'm gonna read the third book if it comes out. I'm imagining it's gonna come out at some point. But I did not like Truth of the Divine. I have 2, and then for the next one, there's the most surprising series, a series that I started reading a book one day. I was like, holy shit, this is really good. And then the series ended up being really good. The first one is the Constellation trilogy by Claudia Gray. And I mean, I love her Star Wars books, so I was like, all right, let's see if she's got any other books. And the Constellation series is a YA trilogy. It's AI, and it's I guess I would call it a hard sci-fi book, but it's also a romance. It's a little bit like Lost Stars by her, but instead of two humans, it's a human female and a robot male. Noemi Vidal, and I don't remember the robot's name. His creator was Burt Mansfield, though, so I know enough of that about that. But fantastic trilogy. I mean, I read them all as fast as I could read them, or I listened to them as fast as I could listen to them. They were so good. Claudia Gray is so good at writing novels, and I'm so excited for her High Republic adult novel. Um, that's coming out soon. I highly recommend this if you like her Star Wars stuff, especially Lost Stars and Leia. It feels a lot more like those books because it's like I said, it's YA. It's very hard to find YA sci-fi, you know. And I think this was perfect. It takes place in a distant Earth, like an Earth a long time from now, or parts of it does. It talks about Earth and kind of how it is the overlord of all these systems, but it's like a terrible place, and everyone there is terribly corrupt, and it's so good. Such a good book. Highly recommend. It's not book. It's the books. The three of them. I highly recommend them. Definitely check out Libby because that's where I found them. And I would love to get my hands on a copy of them. My favorite book was I think Defy the Worlds. Yeah, Defy the Worlds, which is the second book in the trilogy. I liked the last one and it ended really well, but it wasn't my favorite. My favorite was definitely Defy the Worlds. I think that last one's called Defy the Fates. The first one's Defy the Stars. So yeah, and then the other one that surprised me and kind of got me on this murder mystery kick was cozy murder mystery kicks is Campers and Criminals Cozy Mysteries by Tanya Kappas. I read 5 of the 24 books she's got out for that series. I'm gonna hopefully try to read some more this year. Hopefully she didn't have to come out with another one, or else I'll just be that one much further back. But I really, really love the series. I love the way the characters were written. It's just it's a real cozy feeling. It's just I don't know, man. It's just something about the books that are just really good. And I love the main character. She's awesome. Um, and there's little bits of romance here and there, but not enough to make me not convulse. Not enough to make me embarrassed, or whatever listening to it. It's just the right amount of romance, and it's always at the very end. The mysteries are pretty good. I think it was the second book that I was like, oh, I know who this is. I think more seasoned murder mystery readers probably figured out faster than I did. I don't like to try to figure it out, but fourth book's my favorite. I think it's called. Oh God, I don't remember, but they all have alliteration in their names, so that's cool. Um, but yeah, I was really blown away by that series. It's really good. I really enjoy it, and it's just at the time I just finished the Constellation series, and I really wanted to get out of these epic big space civilizations and just kind of back down to Earth, and I think that really hit at the time, and just continued from there. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. My least favorite book of the year, I think I've already described what that was, and that is Truth of the Divine. I don't think I have to go any harder on that book. I did not like it. I'm sorry. I wish it was better. And then finally, for me, the best audiobook performance this year was Mark Thompson in the Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil books. He's just legendary. He's so good at this stuff. Mark Thompson's incredible, and he makes so many different distinct voices. You're like, is this really one person? And yeah, it's one person. He was awesome. He was awesome throughout all the Thrawn books, because I've read them. Well, I've had the audiobook on and I've been reading with it. So he's awesome. I loved him, Mark Thompson. And then finally, Casey Lee Huizinga and Nate Beagle in Defy the Worlds by Claudia Gray. Like I said, I love those books. And the second book in particular was spectacular. And the job that they do playing their characters, Noemi and the robot whose name I can't remember, fantastic jobs. I actually really love when audiobook creators, I guess you call them, producers, have two different voices. If there's two different character perspectives, I really love when they do that. Have like a quote unquote full cast, and I like their interactions with each other. So, yeah, I think that should be it. I'm, you know, if we want to go to this far, my most anticipated book for next year is probably Brotherhood. I don't remember who the author is, but it's another Star Wars novel. It's an Anakin Obi-Wan novel set between episode 1 and 2, maybe. Yeah, I think that's how that is. But yeah, so I'm very excited about that book. Um, I don't think I can think of any other ones that I'm like super super excited for next year that aren't Star Wars related. Obviously, all the High Republic books I'm super excited for. But yeah, if you guys liked this video, give it a like, subscribe. I have a lot coming next year. I'm very excited for it on this channel. I'll probably put out a video in the next couple weeks announcing some of it, or maybe it'll just appear on your feed. We'll find out. So again, thank you for watching. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in 2022. Happy New Year.